Alrighty. So the point of this video is to go over the Unity project and just show the current build and show what's going on with it, show its limitations and what it's good at. So let's start it up right here. Okay, so we have settings over here. We got music, we got sound effects, which is what you're hearing right now. Font sizes over here, that's for the code and the terminal. And we have the colors over here. So first things first, there's a sandbox mode right here, which is basically just like a file system where you can create new files and rename them to hello. Uh, it's basically just a Python emulator that can store Python code and run it. So if we do this, we see hello over here, and we can save the file. And if we don't, we're do something like that. It would show pop up, so it's pretty safe. So opens stuff like this. And one last thing, can show errors. So if I run this, oh, that didn't work. It'll show errors. And then we can delete a file. Pretty simple stuff. Can be used for if students or whoever is using it, they have an assignment or they just want to code in Python and have a simplified environment where everything is right here. That's kind of the use case for that. So next we have our levels. So we have tutorial, and then we go over each kind of programming practice or concept. So the tutorial and then the variables and lists and such. We can go over strings first. So right here, show a better one. So a tutorial, so story and notes. Story is just kind of whatever we want to tell the player right before they're entering a level. And then the notes are filled with Python notes that they'll need for a level. So going back to strings, nothing's in here because I haven't added it quite yet. We have settings over here. And then we have the terminal right over here. So the goal of the game is to unlock all the files and all the directories uh, in the level, basically in a file system. And once they do that, then then they complete the level. So we're using a terminal approach because terminals are very important in computer science. I think it's a good way to teach kids how to use it when it's in a simplified manner as I've made it here. So we do ls, we'll see the first locked directory. We see it's locked, and then we see a helpful hint. We can use solve1. So we can do that, and it'll bring us to our first coding puzzle. So we'll have directions right here, and then we have some starting code. So we can do, actually first, just run it. And nothing happens, but oh, that's because we're not setting the result. Now if we run it, we'll see code's output, and then we also have run tests here. So that's running the test to see if the implementation is complete, and if all the tests run and they're successful, then the puzzle will be unlocked and the directory will be unlocked. So we can go ahead and do that. Looks right, and so now all the tests are complete. The puzzle is unlocked. There's also hidden tests, which prevent the user from just looking at the shown test cases and just saying if it's hello, then return bleh, which would pass this test. But with the hidden test and the users not knowing what it is, we don't have to worry about them cheating. So then we can CD into the next one. This is all covered in all the commands are covered in the tutorial, but there's also the help command, which goes over each command. And then we have a locked file right here. So we can use hint definition to see what the question is to unlock it, basically. So what term is used in programming to refer to a named storage location that can hold different values? One word. That's a variable. Oh. Yeah. So files are unlocked with answering a question, and directories are unlocked by solving coding puzzles. So now that the file is unlocked, we can write the file contents out. And this is just explaining strings in a more detailed sense. Kind of the goal of the level. So we're just kind of explaining strings, and it just keeps on going until you complete the level. Once that happens, a pop-up window, kind of like how this is, it'll show that the user complete the level. Last thing I want to say about the levels is that we're storing progress. So it'll store the old code from the puzzles and such, but it'll also store which puzzles have been completed. So in my version, tutorial has been completed, so it's shown as white with black text, and the rest of these have not been completed, so they're black with white text. This will change eventually on how it will look exactly, but just showing that it's storing. Okay, so how can this software be used? So one way that we can use this is to teach coding and culture at the same time. So we can do that by having the story section be used to talk about some type of culture. So a good example would be Greek myths. We could talk about an overview of what kind of gonna be talking about. So if we're talking about Zeus in the level, we can talk about his backstory or whatever we want, and then we can use the files we have here to elaborate more on the subject. So we can have different stories about Zeus and in the files, but we can also have the unlock questions for the files be directly related to Zeus. So we can have some information in here that they have to read to be able to unlock the next one. The other plus side to this is that it can be used offline. So nothing besides the installation requires Wi-Fi or internet access. And to kind of help with that in the future, pretty soon here, I want to add Python notes and examples somewhere in the home screen, so that whoever's using it can just use this and only this to learn Python. That's kind of the goal. And another plan for the future is just to add more levels to make it more in depth and give more opportunity for learning. And that's about it.